I'm a fan of the Sony MDR-1000X, and now Sony has released their 1000XM2. Although nothing's changed on the outside, the Sony 1000XM2 have been improved on the inside. But if you already have the Sony 1000X, should you run out and upgrade to the Sony 1000XM2? We're about to find out. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and you can watch some of my other videos here after you're done watching this video. When the Sony MDR-1000X first came out, they were selling for $399.99, but thankfully, the new Sony WH-1000XM2 are retailing for $349.99, and you have two colors to choose from, black or gold, and now the older 1000X are selling for $298 over at Amazon. If you want to pick either of these headphones up, I'll have links in the description below, and I'll keep them updated so you can get the best deal possible. Sony products routinely go on sale, so you might get lucky. The exterior and materials used on the Sony 1000XM2 are identical to the 1000X. The majority of the body is made out of plastic. They have synthetic leather on the exterior of the ear cuffs. They have a stainless steel headband. They have the same physical buttons, a power button and noise cancellation button on the left ear cup, and even the pattern is the same. You also get the same accessories as the 1000X, like a hard shell carrying case, a micro USB cable for charging, an airplane adapter, and an audio cable. Although Sony does a great job of packing in a whole bunch of features into their products, build quality is still not up to par to the Bose QC35. But if you're mindful of them, they should last you a long time. And when it comes to comfort, they're identical to the 1000X. Clamping force isn't too tight on the head, there's enough padding, and prolonged use is no problem. The first most noticeable upgrade to the Sony 1000XM2 is the battery. With noise cancellation turned on, the 1000XM2 should last you for 30 hours, and with noise cancellation turned off, they should last you for 38 hours. But in my testing, they've actually lasted me for about 35 hours with noise cancellation turned on and at moderate listening levels. And for comparison, the 1000X have a battery life of 20 hours with noise cancellation turned on. The Sony 1000XM2 also now have quick charging, which is great to have if you're as forgetful as me. If you plug them in for 10 minutes, they'll get you around 70 minutes of playback time, which hopefully should last you your morning commute if you take public transportation. And for comparison, the 1000X don't have quick charging. But sadly, the Sony 1000XM2 is still using Bluetooth 4.1. You still get the same wireless range of around 40 feet like the 1000X, but I really wish Sony took this opportunity to upgrade to Bluetooth 5.0 or at least Bluetooth 4.2. Just like the 1000X, the 1000XM2 can only be paired to one device at a time. You can't just quickly swap from your phone to your laptop like I do with the Bose QC35 with the Beats 3. Instead, if you're using the 1000XM2 with your phone, you have to disconnect them and then go into the Bluetooth settings of your other device like a tablet or laptop and connect the 1000XM2 to that device manually. Another upgrade to the Sony 1000XM2 is the noise cancellation and ambient sound features. Like I've said in the past, the noise cancellation on the Bose QC35 always gave me a headache and I always felt a good amount of cabin pressure. The older Sony 1000X didn't cause me any headaches, but did have the slightest cabin pressure. But with the Sony 1000XM2, I feel absolutely no cabin pressure and there have been no headaches whatsoever. But that's just me. Also, while getting shots on the Hudson River, I noticed there was almost no wind noise whenever I got hit by a gust of wind. Only very rarely and at just the right angle did the noise cancellation microphones on the 1000XM2 cause that white noise sound. Whereas the noise cancelling microphones on the Bose QC35 and 1000X are a little more sensitive to wind compared to the 1000XM2. Sony also added a pressure sensor into the 1000XM2 so they can measure the barometric pressure in your immediate surroundings and then compensate the sound and noise cancellation accordingly. The idea is that you should get the best noise cancellation whether you're on the ground or on an airplane. The 1000XM2 also have the same ambient sound settings as the 1000X. You can have the headphones pump in all of your surrounding sounds while you're playing music so you can hear what's going on and stay safe when you're walking in the city, or have the headphones only let in people's voices so if people call your name at the office, you can still hear them. Or you can just have your basic noise cancellation on and block out everything. The Sony 1000XM2 also now connects to Sony's Headphones app, available on both Apple and Android. And this app gives you so much control over the headphones. First, there's adaptive sound control, where the ambient sound settings will automatically adjust depending on what you're doing. If you're sitting still, they'll block out everything. Once the headphones detect you're walking, they'll play a notification sound and start pumping in some ambient sound and focus on people's voices. If the headphones detect you're running, they'll let in even more ambient sound, and if they detect you're taking public transportation, they will again block out everything. Obviously, if you just want noise cancellation on all the time, you don't have to bother with the ambient sound settings. But the ambient sound settings on the 1000X series are very useful and is one of the main reasons why I prefer them over other headphones on the market. When it comes to sound quality, there's really no noticeable difference between the 1000X and the 1000XM2. And that's not a bad thing. I've always thought the 1000X sounded better than the Bose QC35. They sound clear and they have enough bass to keep you satisfied. They don't get as loud as the XP950N1, but they can handle almost everything you throw at them. And through the Headphones app, you have a few equalizer settings to choose from, and you can even make your own. But even if you max out the bass on these headphones, you're not going to get the same effect as you would with the XP950N1. But I really do like how easy it is to adjust the EQ on the 1000XM2. And since the EQ is loaded onto the headphones, your EQ settings will follow you from device to device. So through the EQ, you can tailor the sound of the 1000XM2 exactly to your liking. You can also adjust the surround settings and the sound position of these headphones, but honestly, I just keep those settings off. The bass on the 1000XM2 isn't going to satisfy a bass hit like the XP950N1, but they're not supposed to. Their main focus is on noise cancellation and comfort. Touch controls make a return on the 1000XM2. If you double tap the right ear cup, you'll play or pause your music. If you swipe forward, they'll skip a track, and if you swipe back, they'll go back a track. And if you swipe up or down, they'll adjust the volume. And if you press and hold the right ear cup, they'll activate Siri. But if you cover the right ear cup, the headphones will automatically lower the volume of whatever you're listening to and let in all the ambient noise in, so if somebody's trying to talk to you, you can still hear them even with the headphones on. Sony calls this feature quick attention and is my favorite feature on these headphones, hands down. These headphones also have a built-in microphone for calls. I feel the user sounds a little far away and you might have to speak up sometimes, but when I spoke to people on the phone using these headphones, they said it sounded just fine. But this audio clip is being recorded with the headphones themselves, so you can be the judge of that. Before I wrap this video up, I want to point some stuff out about using these headphones with the included audio cable. If you have them plugged in and powered off, you can use the 1000XM2 without noise cancellation, but the sound gets very shallow and the bass is very flat. If you power them on and have a wired connection, the sound quality goes back to your pre-installed EQ settings and the noise cancellation turns back on if you want it. But what really sucks is that the touch controls on the right ear cup won't work if you have a wired connection with your phone. And since there's no inline controller on the cable, you have to whip out your phone if you want to control your music playback. I just don't like functionality being taken away from you. Also, audio quality really isn't that different when using a wired connection versus a wireless connection with your phone, which isn't that surprising since Sony is very good at having a very clear and minimally distorted wireless connection. I've noticed this with both their headphones and their speakers. The only difference I noticed was that the headphones get slightly louder when used with a wired connection. So, the Sony WH-1000XM2 are really just an improved version of the Sony MDR-1000X. The 1000XM2 have a longer battery life and they now have quick charging. The noise cancellation has been improved and you have so much control over your ambient sound settings through Sony's Headphones app. Sound quality on the 1000XM2 is just as good as the 1000X, but being able to easily adjust the EQ is a much welcome feature. But I'm still a little disappointed Sony didn't upgrade the Bluetooth on the 1000XM2 for easy switching between your devices. If you already have the 1000X, you don't really need to upgrade unless the 20-hour battery life is a problem for you. If you're deciding between the 1000X or paying the extra $50 for the 1000XM2, I feel it is worth it because you're getting an improved battery life with quick charging, improved noise cancellation, and even more control over your sound quality. I'm even willing to argue these are the best overall consumer headphones on the market right now. But that could change once the Bose QC35 2 come out in a few weeks. Rumors say October 4th. Hey, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. It helps out more than you realize. For more product reviews and deal alerts, check out jimcaddy.net. If you want to support the channel, pick up a shirt. And I'll catch you next time.